Hey, it's Dorleen. Welcome to my channel and welcome to my creative life. I am working on a layout today. I'm working with some cut files from Printable Cuttable Creatables. I'll have a link in my information box to the exact SVG files that I'm using. Also, a coupon code where you'll get 15% off your purchase at that website. I used two cut files. One is the honeycomb and the other is the honey pot. Now you notice on the honeycomb SVG file, there's all sorts of different sizes, which is so great because it's one file, but yet you get all these choices. And all you have to do is hit ungroup, and that way you'll be able to just grab one or more of the cut files. So what I decided to do in Cricut Design Space is I designed my layout here, and what I did is you go to shapes. I had the square and I also did two rectangles, but I changed them from your basic cut to a guide, and that's what lets you see what you're doing by creating your layouts. But when it's time to cut them out, they won't cut because they're just guides. And again, that's just to kind of give you an idea of the sizes you need to do for each of the elements that you're going to be cutting out. Now, again, I mentioned I got the two cut files from Printable Cuttable Creatables, but I also got this cut file with Winnie the Pooh and the words "Oh bother," and I really wanted to use that because one of the pictures that I'm using for this layout is of my daughter, and she's wearing a Winnie the Pooh shirt and it says "Oh bother," which by the way I made for her. And the other is of my granddaughter. It has nothing to do with Pooh, but she's wearing yellow in her outfit, and I thought it was super cute. Now both of these pictures are totally random. They just happen to both be taken in the month of in January of 2024. And so I do a lot of month in review pages when I scrapbook, and this would be two of the photos for a month in review. So again, nothing to do with each other except for the fact that they're wearing similar colors, and I thought it would be really cute. So once I created the layout, and like I said, I'm going to change those two rectangles to guide. I'm doing that right there, which means they're not going to cut out when I do hit make, but the rest of them, after doing an offset for the title for "Oh bother," everything else was basically cut as is, except for, like I said, I sized them to the size that I wanted. And at this point, I cut all the pieces out, and I just lay them down first before I put any adhesive. And I do this a lot because it really helps me to know where to place each piece, whether I have it upside down or right side up, or, etc. And believe me, once you start putting adhesive, you don't want adhesive on the wrong side or in the wrong places. And doing this first before doing it or adding adhesive really does help. You can ask me how I know that, because you can imagine I've done it one too many times. So once I lay everything down, I'm going to use my precision glue press, and I'm going to add glue to all those little fine pieces for all 4 layers of the honeycomb, and also everything with the honey pot. Now, the honey pot, as you can tell, there's the main pot, and then there's like I'm going to call it a label strip. I'm not really sure what it is. I actually cut them in the same color brown, but the file does show them as 2 separate colors. I probably should have followed the file a little better, because you can't really separate the pot from the label. So I did use some brown ink, and I just inked around the edges, and I think that really helped it pop a little bit, so you can tell it was 2 different pieces. So just lesson learned. I probably should have followed the file and did it a little bit lighter or darker, whichever, to really help pop those 2 pieces. But like I said, that fine point glue from my precision glue press really does help with those small pieces. Look at how cute. Aren't these perfect? I swear, I just love this file. I love all the different elements, or the different variety of yellow or honey colored that I used. Now I'm also going to put together Pooh. Now you see how I have that black liner up on the top? I didn't really need it once I put all this down, but I could have if I wanted to. It was too fine. I didn't feel like it needed it, so I wasn't going to worry about it. Now, if you paid attention to my Cricut Design Space file, I do have Pooh kind of out of that pot, so I will glue him down in the pot once I get to that point. Now, these are the 2 pictures I was talking about. Now, like I mentioned, my granddaughter is not wearing anything Pooh related or honey or bee or anything related to that. But look at that color that she's wearing. To me, it just matched perfectly. I just grabbed a piece of yellow cardstock and I'm going to place the elements down just like I had it on Cricut Design Space. But now I'm thinking, you know what? It needs something else. So I pulled out some of my yellow scraps, and I do have some that have a bee on it. Look at that paper. Now, as you can tell, it does not flow across 12 inches. So I know if you follow me, or if you subscribe to my channel, you know that there's a lot of times where I'll pieces, that sounds funny, piece the paper so it looks like it's flowing. This didn't really work with what I was trying to do, but I did find a second scrap piece of paper. So I'm going to trim that down to be the same size as far as height on this, for that strip, so it'll just flow and there'll be a seam, and I'm not worried about it. I also grabbed this scrap piece of brown paper, and I'm just going to trim as wide as I can do it, and it's probably like a little bit over an inch, which is fine, because if I can use a scrap for something, I'm going to use a scrap, because that's the reason why we hold on to them, right? Anyhow, so here I am. I'm just going to trim this down like I had mentioned, and I'm going to place it on the layout to just give it some more interest and some more, I would say color, but maybe not so much color since it is kind of yellow and brown, just like the other pieces. But just a reminder, I do post 2 videos a week. One is always scrapbooking. The other is whatever it is I'm creating in the command center, which just happens to be the name of my craft room and also my blog. This product is for printable, cuttable creatables, since I am on the design team. And again, if you look in the detail box, I'll have a link to my blog, a link to printable, cuttable creatables web store, coupon code, anything you need to get more information about what I'm doing. Now, this is pretty much what I'm going to finish off the layout to do. I'm just going to put adhesive here, there, adhere everything to the page. But I want you to pay attention, because I know you're looking at this going, this is pretty simple. And it is. And believe me, folks, I love simple. If I can do a simple layout, I'm going to do a simple layout. It has all the elements. Of course, there's the photos. There are some cute elements, which is what the die cuts for this particular page. There's some fun pattern paper. I did a title. I'm doing a little bit of journaling, and I'll get to that in a minute. And, to me, that's what a scrapbook page needs, right? But here I'm thinking, you know what? I do agree to that, and I think it looks fine. But the more I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't know, it needs something. So just a minute, I'm going to look at the page, and I'm going to look at my scraps and think, what can I do to just add a something, right? Just a little something that this just needs without overbearing, or overpowering anything, because I always think that the photo should be the main focus. And if you don't have the photo, then the story, something needs to be the main focus besides all these cool embellishments and things that we purchase and we make, because we're scrapbooking our memories. So I'm adhering these, like I mentioned, which you can see as well. Look at, there's Pooh just poking out of the honey pot, which I adore. I love Pooh. He's so cute. At first I'm thinking, I should have moved that drip up on the top just a little bit more in, but it's stuck. But I'm grabbing that same brown paper scrap, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to do a journaling box up there. And that's what I'm thinking I'm doing. So I measured it, and I'm just cutting it down to a smaller size, a small enough size, I should say. But even as I'm doing it, I'm still kind of like, really, it just looks like a random brown box right there. And is that really what I'm trying to do here? Like, let me move the cutter. Let me look at it again. It still seems off balance, right? I mean, you see it, right? So then I start thinking, okay, you know what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to just do little, I guess you'd call them a tab of color. So I'm just tuck that smaller scrap, and I'm going to put it right underneath that honeycomb right there on the left. And it just gives a little, I don't even know how to describe it. It just gives something else to look at. And again, it's not a lot. And all it is a rectangle of a scrap piece of brown paper. And you're going to see me trim off some edges, because I did earlier, but I didn't do it as well as I should have. So I'm redoing that. But so now I'm looking, okay, I actually like that. It just gives me a little something extra, but I need to balance it to do something over on that right side. So that's what I'm doing in here. I'm just going to tuck another piece of random paper, but just keep on watching, because I'm telling you folks, sometimes it's just the little things, right? And I love just this little thing, and it's nothing exciting. There's nothing hard about it or special about it, or, something I'm like, ooh, look what I did. It literally is just tucking in some paper. But I absolutely think it makes a huge difference. And it just kind of like gives you more places to look as you're looking around the layout. I don't know. What do you think? I hope you agree. And if you do, make sure you give me a thumbs up, like this video. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're not already a subscriber. And again, you can hit the notification bell, because I do post those 2 videos a week. I just finished my 12 Days of Christmas tags series, so I posted 12 days in a row, which was a lot. So I'm kind of lagging this week, and I might lag a little more now that it's, because Christmas is right around the corner. But I do hope to at least do the 2 videos a week, even if it's something like a short or something simple that I'm just adding. But anyhow, I just, don't hold me to it, because this is just a crazy time of year. But thank you so much for watching. I do really appreciate it. I'm just adding a little tab here because I felt like it needed a little bit more, because I also need to do just a tiny bit of journaling. Now, believe me, this is not much. I'm literally going to write January 24, which that's when this is, January of 2024. I put January 24 cuties. That's it, folks. That's all the journaling I need. It's got a date. It tells you whose this is. A couple of cuties. My daughter and my granddaughter, which I may end up just kind of jotting down later. But this is it, folks. I hope you do like this video. Like I mentioned before, please give me a thumbs up if you do. Leave me a comment if you have any questions. Definitely go check out the Printable, Creatable, oh my goodness, Printable, Cuttable, Creatables website. It's really hard to say, because she's got some wonderful cut files. You will not be disappointed. And make sure you use that coupon code so you can get an extra 15% off the already low prices. I'm telling you, my favorite thing are probably those honeycombs. Like, they are 4 layers, folks. That's how detailed these are, without being like small pieces. I mean, they're big pieces, so it's just perfect. But thank you again for watching. I truly appreciate it, and have a wonderful day. Bye.